Hey guys, how you doing? Matty SRT here with another upload, the one that you guys have been waiting for. What is the Tazer? I'm going to be doing a Tazer overview. So, just so you guys can see it here, this is a Tazer. How do I know that? Because they also put right on the back that it's a Tazer. So, I just wanted to go over this with you guys to make sure a lot of your questions are answered, because I get a lot of people on the Facebook groups and even on my channel asking me, what exactly does the Tazer do other than this or that? And the question is, it really depends on your trim level, and it does depend sometimes on what actual vehicle you have. On this vehicle, I'm going to be specifically going over the Durango/Cherokee platforms. Racer X is going to be doing his own video regarding the Challengers and the Chargers. So when he comes out with that, if it hasn't already, go ahead and check out his video on that if you have that particular type of vehicle. As for the Durangos and Cherokees, that is what I'm going to be focusing on with this device. I am going to be making this into a two-part video. In the filming of this, I did get a little bit lengthy and detailed in some of my description, and I just figured it was going to be too long to put into one video. So rather than doing one long video, I decided to do a two-part one, where the first one's the most detailed as far as the features of the device, and then the second one will be more of what the website is, where you can get it, and the app on the computer that you can plug in to update this to program it the way you want for like the light shows and whatnot. So go ahead and stick with me here. Really listen to the details if you can of what I am doing. Most of the things that you'll hear me say in the video, I say to refer to the guide that comes with the Tazer, because there's a lot of things in this that I could have gone a little more into, and I try not to, but I do say to refer to the guide on there, because there are more detailed descriptions on there as far as what it can do for you and your trim level. So let's go ahead and get on into it, and let's get this video started. All right, so first things first, you guys, when you get into your vehicle here, okay, as most of you should probably know, there is an OBD 2 port right up into there. And all you got to do is take your little Tazer device and plug it in to that port. So for me, I'm going to go off the feel. There it is. There we go. Tazer installed. And you can see the light blinking on there. I'm good to go. All right, guys, so what I'm going to go ahead and do now for you, I am going to show you how to start up this Tazer. So once you are in your vehicle and you do have it plugged into your OBD2 port down here below, what you want to go ahead and do is on your ignition, you want to go ahead and turn it on, but you want to turn it on to run. You don't want to turn it to accessories, okay? Sorry, the little paddle there is blocking the view. But you want to put it to run, and you do not want to start the motor. So you should not have your motor on, and you have that on run. And what you want to do is you're going to push this left arrow and your cancel button to get to the menu. However, one thing real quick, I just forgot. I need to tell you, when you go up and down on your menu here, that shows you know, like your trip. For me, I have SRT on here, but I also have my tire pressure, your speedometer here. I know the RTs and the lower trims are going to have a slightly different look, but the concept is pretty much the same. Is that you want to go to your audio settings, okay? Which is the little thing that has like an iPod CD for your Sirius XM. Right now I have it off because obviously I don't need to talk when I'm on it. But once you're right there, that allows you now to access the secret menu for the Tazer. So push that left arrow and hit the cancel button. And what that's going to do, it's going to bring up your menu. Okay. Now, as of right now, I have this currently married to my vehicle, but for your first time use, you guys do need to marry it to your vehicle. So like right here in this case, what I'm going to go ahead and show you do, this is how you also unmarry it. So like when you guys go to the dealership to get some work done, you can unmarry it and put all the stock settings back onto the vehicle, and that way they can't see that. So what you want to do is just select the option. It's the same way whether you marry or unmarry it, but just select that, and then you're going to hit this button right here for your cruise control that you normally put off and on. Hit that, and it's going to go on there unmarrying countdown. You can let go of the buttons, and you just got to let it do its countdown here. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll fast forward here once this is done. But what it's just basically going to do, it's just going to put all the settings that were stock originally on the vehicle before you marry the device back on. That way it looks as basically a stocked vehicle. Now see, it said on there unmarried. It said it's going to do a quick reboot, which it did. You can see the little security light that just came on right there. Okay. Other than that, that's it. It is now unmarried. So I can unplug the device from here. Okay. I can also unplug the double bypass that's over here that I installed. And the dealer can now do his thing, and they won't even see that it was even on or anything like that. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and remarry it back on. So I'm on the music menu already. So let's see here. I'm going to go through the options. There is an unmarry code right there if you guys saw. Now that's specific to each device. What you can do is if you end up getting a new vehicle, you can buy a key that will unlock the device from the vehicle that it's currently on, so you can marry it to another one. Because once you marry this to whatever vehicle you marry it to, that's it. You can't move this from car to car and just expect it to work. You have, once you marry it to that car, it goes with that VIN and that computer. Okay, that's how it keeps the stock settings and all that from working properly for you. So you want to make sure that when you buy this, you just can't think you can put it on like another Charger or another Durango or a Trackhawk. If you want to marry it to another vehicle, you need to buy a key off their website. I think it's like $50. But anyway, that's real simple. I showed you there on the website. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and remarry this. Hit OK. Give it a countdown. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this. Okay, so now it's remarried. So now we can just kind of go through the basic menus of everything on there, okay? So back on the audio menu here, it's married. We'll hit cancel. So what we're going to go ahead and do, let me just reset this from the top. That way everyone doesn't get confused as far as what's on here. Now remember, this is with the vehicle on the run position, engine off. These are vehicle settings. So once you set these, you can actually unplug the Tazer from your car and these will still work. Okay, it's the live functions that you need to have the Tazer plugged in for it to continue to work. Okay, so anyway, let's go through here. So it's going to go reset right here. There's the reset. Okay, all right, now those are diagnostic codes. So when you guys get a check engine light, you're wondering what's going on. I have it right now because I don't have the engine on, but I have it on run, so it thinks there's something wrong. But this will give you an error code or tell you how many things are on there. And if you do have a known engine problem that is causing that the engine light to stay on, you can clear them from right here and have it reset. So that way it clears out those codes for you. Okay. We don't want to marry because we don't want to do that. Now there's performance options. Now, if you go through the performance options, these are not necessarily going to need used for the Durango or the Cherokee. This is mostly for your Chargers and Challengers, the older models. So once again, you can refer to Racer X's video that he should be out or having come out very soon regarding that. Obviously, we don't have a 5-speed in these Durangos, so you don't need to worry about that. But that, I just want to let you know, do not worry about that. Oops, I didn't mean to change that. You want to make sure you don't change these settings. If it's not relevant to you, do not change the setting. It can mess something up. So that was originally on no, so I'm going to put that back to no. Got to hit the cancel button to proceed to the next option. Now the 8-speed, that should be on yes because we have an 8-speed tranny. Okay, SRT set yes. Now since I already have an SRT, this was automatically already set to yes. All right, sorry for the quick edit right there, but one thing I did there to show what it would do, when I took the SRT set to no, it brought up an option to change my menu options, and my screen was starting to go to weird there, so I kind of edited that out real quick. I had to be able to get back to the point to where I could put SRT to yes. So for me, since I have an SRT, I don't want to mess with that. As like I said, if it's not relevant to you, do not change it because it could cause a problem for you. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is part of the setup to get you the pages. SRT set is yes, and like I'm going to show you guys here too. Remember, if you do get this Tazer, it does come with like an 18-page user guide to help you figure out all your different little settings here, which is what I'm kind of going through, hopefully quickly for you. But that way you guys can also see what each thing does on there and what setting is exactly. It does have like little pictures and whatnot like right here, so you can kind of see, like for instance, this is showing you where to do the install on there. So I just want to let you guys know, just make sure you do get this, okay, and keep it with you just in case. And like for instance, here's that SRT mode. If not an SRT and it's set to on, this will add the splash screen and the menus to the EVIC display. So you'll get the splash screen here on the thing, and you'll get the display. But that's only for the 2012, the 14 Charger 300. And then the SRT drive modes will go to the 15 to 17 Challengers and Charger Scat Packs on there. Now, if you do this on a 3.6 or a regular 5.7, that setting will cause an airbag light to come on there. So, and your sport button is going to be disabled. So that's a whole nother issue right there. But I just want to let you know, that's just one thing to get going when you have that setting on there. Okay, so I'm going to proceed to the next thing. Performance set. Now that's kind of more, like I said, explanatory. The performance set is basically the pages. You want to have that enabled. I already have it enabled because I'm an SRT, so you can go ahead and put that on there. STP, that stands for Super Track Pack Engage. Now, as an SRT, I don't need to have this on, so it's set to no. But for a lot of you that have an RT or a Scat Pack, you can add this Super Track Pack, and that'll allow for you to get the more performance pages to do, like the transmission to be on a certain mode, and then the engine on a certain mode, tranny, you know, everything like that. So that you can enable. Like I said, just refer to the guide to what you want to do on there, but that is what the STP means. Paddles, self-explanatory. A lot of these cars already come with the paddles, so if you have them, they should already be enabled. That's yes, but sometimes people put aftermarket steering wheels on that have paddles, and you can enable those through this option on there. Steering, that is technically not available for me because I already have all the steering settings for my SRT. Some of you can put that on there to have the steering go to like a track firmness for when you're on the track. So you can refer to the guide to that, but that's what the steer part of that means on there. Drive modes, SRT. So like I said, same thing before, that basically is another part to help enable the SRT pages. So for me, that's already enabled SRT, just refer to the guide. Okay, drive trans, that's yes for me because I do have the ability to change the drive modes on the trans, which is what that means, to either sport, street, track, or towing, you know, whatnot. So that's enabled for me already. You would have to enable that to get part of those on the pages as well. Shift light, you have the ability to have a little shift light come on when you get to a certain RPM that you can set. For me, I have it set to no. I don't really need a shift light. I can tell by the sound and by looking at the darn RPM gauge if I need to shift or not. But that is an option if you want to put on there. It's also a setting you can go into the U-Connect here and put a shift light on as well. So I'd rather do it through here on that particularly instead of through the Tazer. Eco mode, that's self-explanatory. Not all cars came with an eco mode. Mine does, and it's enabled yes, so that way if I want to go in that, I can put it on. So some cars have it as no, or they don't have it in eco mode. If you do put this to yes, that will enable an eco mode for you, so your trans and your engine can get you the best mileage possible if that's something you would like to do on there for you. All right, the next settings is tire stuff on here. So I'll briefly just kind of go through this stuff real quick as well. Basically, it's going to ask you what type of tire pressure sensors you have. Premium is what I have because it tells me the actual PSI per tire. There are two other settings, which is off, and another one that just says it's either low or high, and that's it. Because some cars don't actually give you a PSI. Some will just say, hey, it seems low. Go ahead and put air on it. I'm not going to touch this because I did that one time and I kind of messed that up and it took me a while to get it back. So I'm just going to leave that for now, but I just want to let you know what that is. There is the setting on here to tell me when that check engine or that check tire pressure light comes on. It's set to 33 on all four of the tires. So this is for the front, and then the back is 33 as well. So once it gets below to that certain point or a certain percentage below that is when it comes up with the check your tire pressure, thinking that it's gotten too low. So you can change that. If you also do get bigger tires or bigger rims, this is for a lot of you to upgrade, say from 18s to 20s or 20s to 22s, or even if you downgrade from 22s back down to 20s or something, or you get a bigger radius tire, you can go in here and actually set on here in inches, I think, the tallness of the tire. So what you want to do is measure from the top of the tire to the bottom and whatever you get, you can input that here. And what that'll do, that'll help your speedometer be correct, because obviously if you get a bigger tire, even though it says you're going 60 mile an hour, you may actually be going 65 in real speed, and vice versa. If you go with a smaller tire and it says you're going 60, you might only actually really be going 56 or something like that. So this is a way for you guys that have those tire upgrades that are worrying about redoing the speedometer. This is the way to do it through Tazer. You can go ahead and do that. Radio, there's 3 different type of radio cams in here. I'll go through the options on it. So camera engaged, yes. Most all of our cars have a backup camera, so that should be engaged. Some of you don't, so if you don't, that'll be a no. But there is an option. If you do add in a aftermarket, you can enable that and put yes, okay? The next option, no, obviously I'm gonna go back to yes. Okay, there we go. Cargo cam, I do not have that. That's mostly on Rams. But if you do put an aftermarket, you can enable cargo cam, so that way you can go through your Uconnect and get through that. So that's enabled. The cam grid, obviously there's the backup camera and you have the lines, but then there's also like the middle lines. That's like what, you know, the lane separator or lane divider type looking thing. You can put that on as well. And some vehicles don't have that, but that's just an option you can put on there. Mine came with it, so I left it. DVD, CD, mine's yes. I do have the DVD players in my vehicle, so that's already enabled for me. But if you do add an aftermarket, you can enable it in here, so that way you know you have it. Travel Link, I did have the 5-year subscription that came with the vehicle when I bought this. I do have it enabled as yes, because obviously I have it. What you can do is you can put this to no, and that'll disable you from getting all the, you know, like when you start your car and you get like a wind advisory or a rainstorm or a windstorm or all the little pop-ups that come on here for winter. If that gets bothersome to you and you don't want that, you can go in here and turn that to no. One thing to note is if you do that, I've noticed that I tend to have problems with my system not wanting to turn off completely. I've gone out to start my car with a completely dead battery, and I mean dead. So there's something with this particular option that sometimes does not turn off, and it's not every time, but it's like 1 in 25, 1 in 30 times. It's enough to kind of make you go, wait a minute. And when you got to jump start your car and this and that from a completely dead battery, it's not a fun thing, believe me. I've had to do that. So just an option. I would leave this to yes. It's okay for me to just hit okay to go ahead and see the warnings on there. I'm not too worried about that. So, all right, the next cool thing is the lighting on here. All right. Okay, so there we go. Sorry guys, I had to do a quick edit on that. It did something just a little weird on me. Now this thing is not perfect, so I do have little hiccups here and there. But as far as lighting, the first thing it comes to is the DRL type. Now you want to keep this on USA, which is on, but you can select different lights, and I'll show you what to do. Your other option on there is to go to Canada, which is always on, and then there's one that's just off. So like if I hit this again, there's none. That means you'll have no DRLs on anytime. Or if you go to Canada, that keeps it on all the time, no matter what. So there's really no point on this one, but for me, I'm gonna leave it on the USA one, okay? And then your next option on here for your DRLs is the dedicated. So for us, on the Durangos, we have the LED strip below the headlight. That's where our thing is. However, you can change this to an SRT one or none. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't change this. I would leave the DRL the way it is. It already looks fine. It is. You can put it as your high beams if you wanted. You could put it on as your low beams to actually have daytime headlights on there if you wanted to do that. There's a whole bunch of options. You can have your fog lights on as your DRLs, or you go back to the dedicated, which is the LED strip. I would leave that on the dedicated if I were you, but there is an option for you to change it. DRL drop. This is important if you guys want to do this, as I'm showing here shortly. The DRL drop, daytime running lights. When you put on your turn signal, by default, your DRLs turn off. Okay? It's a preference. If you want it or not, that's just up to you. Okay? So I'm going to put that to no because I do not want it to drop off. The next thing is fogs. Some cars don't come with fog lights. If yours does come factory, it will say yes already. If not, and you put in fog lights later, you can enable this to say yes. That way the system knows you have them. So you can enable that. And then there's a fog dropout. Now, when you put your bright lights on, the fog lights drop off automatically. Okay, I guess it's supposedly too much light or something like that, legal term or whatever. If you don't want your fog lights to drop out when you put your bright lights on, all you got to do is just put that to no, And then there you go. So now when you put your bright lights on, the fog lights will always stay on there for you. So not a big deal on there. Comfort, real quickly on that. There's some settings on cars for an easy exit. The Durango already, when you turn off the ignition and all that, your seat, like when I do this, the steering wheel goes up, my seat goes back, and I'm able to get out of the car just fine. Some vehicles don't have that ability to do that. Obviously, if you don't have electric seating and all that, you're not going to have that option anyway. So there's nothing really you can do with that on there. All right. But that is an option for you to do if you want to go ahead and have an easy exit. You can put that on, which I did do on there. And sorry, with me doing that, that kind of set the menu up here. Let me get back to it. Okay. So I got everything back. I'm going. Next thing, mirrors. This is for anyone that has power mirrors on your side view mirrors, which is generally the trucks and all that. I do not have them. I'm not going to go through that menu because I don't have them, so I don't need to worry about it. But you can automatically have them fold in when you're backing up type of thing, which some of them do, some don't. That's really kind of up to you. But you can go on here. Power fold, no or yes. It's really up to you if you want to do that or not. Obviously, I don't need to do that. Mirror turns, yes. If you're turning, it can go a little more. Tow mirrors, you can do that. That way you can control your tow mirrors and all that. So like I said, it's just something I don't really need to worry about. But other than that, that's it. Anyways, that's all the settings as far as regular vehicle settings go on there. Here it goes through all your serial number, your unmarried codes. And then what you want to do is when you change all those settings to what you want, you need to do a reboot at least 2 times. So what you want to do is full reboot. You're going to hit OK. And you're going to let it do its thing here, which I'll let it do. But just to kind of speed this up while it's doing that, I'll let you know it'll do a reboot on its own 2 times. And then what I recommend is opening the door, closing it, turn everything off, let it sit for a couple minutes, and then open the door, get back in, and then go ahead and start it back up. That'll give it a 3rd cycle. And then there you go. All your settings should be good to go. So what I'll go ahead and do is we'll go to the live section of the Tazer here, and we'll go through there. All right, we'll be right back.